Welcome back, everybody. In this session, we're going to be talking about critical appraisal and evidence grading regarding the evidence analysis library. Make sure you're reading and going through your to-do list. So you're reading the assigned articles, if there are any, and you're also completing the EAL tutorial. This is the link to it. At the end of the tutorial, there are some quizzes, or as you go along, there are some quizzes. Make sure you're printing out the certificates of completion after the quizzes, and then uploading those to Blackboard. You can take a look at the learning objectives on your own. So let's get to it. So a caveat about this series of slides that I'm going to go through. These are not my slides. The slides are provided by the Evidence Analysis Library, but I know that people like or have different learning styles, so I'm going to narrate some of these slides so you can listen to this or you can just review this on your own, but at least you'll have some information. So the Evidence Analysis Library is an online tool that supports evidence-based research. As part of your Academy membership, you have free access to this resource. So if you're a student member or a member of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, you have access to this resource. So think about or think back to our discussion of the process of a systematic review. So the Evidence Analysis Library houses systematic reviews that have followed a specific approach and criteria. And what it does is it synthesizes these reviews. So the systematic reviews in the EAL assess study methods and strength of results following a predefined approach. So they're reviewing systematic reviews, and then they're applying a specific method and approach to critiquing them and then giving them a grade. The conclusion statements of an EAL review provide a grade for the study. Grades range from Roman numeral 1 to 5. And note that you really need to understand what the grading criteria is made up of to really understand what the grade means. I've posted a copy of the EAL grade definition chart in this session's content folder, so you can take a look at that more closely. So let's take a look at the steps and features of the EAL process. The creation of the EAL makes possible evidence-based dietetics practice. This will enable superior nutrition care, standardization in all areas of dietetic practice, and consistency in measuring outcomes of the work of the registered dietitian. This will also result in enhanced professionalism and an increased ability to achieve third-party reimbursement for services. This is the home page of the EAL, and the tabs on the top line indicate the broad categories of the EAL, and then the second line of tabs indicates the subcategories for the selected category on the top. There are parts of the EAL that the public can view and other areas that are restricted to Academy members and subscribers. For example, pediatric weight control and childhood overweight projects are available to the public because they were supported by a grant from the Academy Foundation. The definition of the EBP, the evidence-based practice, was developed by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Evidence-Based Practice Committee with input from the Research Committee, Quality Management Committee, and Scope of Dietetics Practice Task Force. It was approved by the ADA House of Delegates leadership team and adopted association-wide. The important point to note here in this slide is the use of systematically reviewed scientific evidence. This is the research out there that is reviewed according to set procedures, and that EBP integrates best available evidence with professional expertise and client values by the work of expert work groups. We cannot prove our expertise and streamline practices with what we learn in newspaper articles and popular fashion magazines or blogs that are not done by registered dietitians. We need to focus on the evidence-based approach to practice. The evidence-based approach improves quality of healthcare, decreases wide variations in practice, and reduces the gap between what is known from research and what happens in real life. The Evidence-Based Practice Committee is the oversight committee and was formed in 2005. It is made up of Academy members who represent other Academy committees as well as different areas of the profession. This appointed committee has the following responsibilities. They are in charge of quality improvement to make sure the evidence analysis library projects are moving forward and working efficiently. The committee reviews all evidence-based products that we're going to be talking about in this presentation. The committee has a huge responsibility of assuring dissemination of the EAL and its resources, so things like the toolkits and guidelines and also education modules. They're also responsible for promoting evidence-based practice to enhance the knowledge and usage of the EBP among RDs and DTRs. One of the functions is to appoint the expert work group for projects. The projects are reviewed each year, and the committee is also responsible for prioritizing the newest projects for the EAL. In March 2003, three Academy committees, the Legislative and Public Policy Committee, the Quality Management Committee, and the Research Committee, asked the Academy Board of Directors to raise evidence-based practice in priority within the association and to support a multi-year evidence-based practice research program. The Board of Directors passed a motion to further explore support for a multi-year future research program to support evidence-based practice and requested additional information on the relationship of evidence-based practice to nutrition diagnostic and intervention codes. And in addition, the nutritional care process and model, and the effect of this proposal for evidence-based practice research programs on other association priorities and resources. The staff prepared a comprehensive and sustainable plan to support the evidence-based practice program. The Board of Directors reviewed the 5-year plan and acknowledged the levels of continued funding estimated to support the total initiative. Each year, the initial plan has been updated, budget proposals submitted, and the process has been presented to the Board of Directors. In 2005, the Board of Directors created a separate committee, the Evidence-Based Practice Committee, to provide oversight over the work and process of developing evidence-based nutrition practice guidelines and application tools for the implementation of these guidelines. The Evidence-Based Practice Committee continues to work closely with the Research Committee, Quality Management Committee, Nutrition Care Process Standardized Language Committee, Coding and Coverage Committee, and the Dietetic Practice Research Network. The Evidence-Based Practice Committee is made up of 10 volunteer members that are responsible for everything evidence-based practice. Every EAL project, including those that develop into guidelines and toolkits, go through the Academy's evidence analysis process. This process is a rigorous and systematic process for searching, analyzing, and summarizing research on a specific nutrition topic. Before the evidence analysis process begins, a work group must be assembled. In order to be appointed to a work group, a person must be an expert in the project topic or field. Qualifications are reviewed by members of the Evidence-Based Practice Committee, and 6 to 8 members are appointed. The working group members then meet by teleconference about one time a month for the duration of the project, which can be a year to 18 months. Their responsibilities are to formulate questions, set inclusion or exclusion criteria, review materials, grade conclusion statements, provide final approval of the review. Once the work group is seated and trained, then the evidence analysis process can begin. In addition to the work group members, there's also a lead analyst and a project manager on each project. They are contracted with the Academy and are not appointed like the work group members are. The evidence analysis process is a rigorous and transparent process, and this slide indicates the steps. Once an expert work group is formed, the first task at hand is to develop the questions for their project. So formulating the question is the first step. In formulating the question, the work group asks further questions. They want to identify relevant research, identify areas where knowledge for practice is needed, so looking for those gaps. They want to connect specific knowledge to practice and focus the approach to the research. Evidence analysis should focus on answering questions related to the steps in the nutrition care process. So, nutrition assessment, nutrition diagnosis, nutrition intervention, and nutrition monitoring and evaluation of outcomes. The work group is asked to formulate 10 questions, typically 10 questions, for their project. Here's a sample question. Note that the question follows the PICO format that we've spoken about. So the next step in the process is to gather and classify the research. Gathering and classifying the research is done by the expert work group by setting the inclusion, who should be included in the study, and exclusion criteria, who is not eligible for the study. The Academy has standard criteria for every project regarding peer reviews, English language, and human subjects. So those would be part of their inclusion and exclusion criteria. Then the lead analyst within the work group takes this information to do a search on the research. When reviewing the EAL, you'll be able to look at the search plan and results for a particular topic. This slide is an example of the search plan and results. It will show you which articles the work group did not include and will give you a reason why they didn't do appraisals for that particular worksheet. This is in order to make sure that all the work on the EAL is transparent and that if anyone did the same search using the same inclusion criteria, they would be able to come up with the same results. The third step in the process is critically appraise each article. This is an example of a worksheet from EAL. All worksheets are available to you on EAL, and you can actually search a topic and see all the research that has already been done and appraised. Here is the checklist that gives the article and its quality rating. Again, it's important to provide the best research that was found to answer a question for a topic on the EAL. Each article will receive a quality rating of positive, negative, or neutral based on the answer to the quality criteria checklist. The quality of the article will help determine the grade of the conclusion statement. The conclusion statement will have a better grade, for example, grade 1 or grade 2, with more positive quality articles supporting it. Over 3,600 articles have been analyzed by the Evidence-Based Analysis Library. The fourth step in the process is summarizing the evidence in an overview table and evidence summary. Once the analysts have completed their worksheets and quality criteria checklists, the lead analyst draws up an evidence summary and provides this to the expert workgroup to review and edit. The lead analyst takes all the information that was found out through the articles and pulls it into an evidence summary. The evidence summary also comes in a tabular form so that you can look quickly at each article and compare each article quickly to each other. To see a worksheet, you can go to the very bottom of the evidence summary and see a link for each article. You can then click on them and see the worksheets for any article that was used for a particular question. The fifth step in the process is to develop conclusion statements and grade the strength of the supporting evidence. The working group makes a conclusion statement based on the evidence for the question. Notice that the statement includes a grade. From the previous slide, the grade on low carbohydrate diets was a grade of 2, which is fair. This states that evidence consists of results from studies of strong design answering the questions addressed, but there is uncertainty attached to the conclusion because of inconsistency among the results from different studies or because of doubts about generalizability, bias, research design flaws, or adequacy of sample size. Alternatively, the evidence consists solely of results from weaker designs for the questions addressed, but the results have been confirmed in separate studies and are consistent with a few minor exceptions. Finally, after the working group approves the question and its concluding statements, it is published on the EAL for you as a free member benefit. So if you are a student or a member of the Academy, you have free access to these published EALs. After the evidence analysis is completed for a project, the information can be used to create a guideline, toolkits, or other resources for practitioners. A project may also be used to support an Academy position paper. Guidelines and resources are published on the EAL, and position papers are linked from the Academy website. This slide shows the number of articles that have been reviewed and worksheets created. So you can see it's increasing in numbers. This slide shows the utilization of the EAL. So you can again see some of the numbers increasing, although 2012 to 2013 may have had a little bit of a drop. This is a slide showing EAL usage around the world. So it's been viewed in over 200 different countries, and it really continues to grow. And I think this is a slightly older slide from 2013. Some projects on the EAL move on to become guidelines. Evidence-based nutrition practice guidelines are systematically developed statements based on scientific evidence to assist practitioners and patient decisions about appropriate health care for specific clinical circumstances. Evidence-based guidelines and toolkits can help you implement evidence-based practice, implement a nutrition care process, promote consistency, achieve expected outcomes, and bottom line, assure quality care. This slide reviews the process of the guideline development. Once the guidelines are published on the EAL, a toolkit is developed. Toolkits are disease-specific and include hands-on resources to assist the dietetic practitioner in applying evidence-based guidelines. This slide reviews the development process for toolkits. EAL projects are reviewed and revised to stay current of the latest research. Since research is always changing, they are reviewed and updated. So, review the EAL documents that are posted in this session's content folder. I put there Evidence Analysis Manual, the Evidence Analysis Worksheet, Quality Criteria Checklist, and the EAL grading table. Then go ahead and find a topic within the EAL that's related to your area of research and review the information. And of course, you have to complete the EAL tutorial, do the quizzes, get the certificates of completion, and upload those to Blackboard to get credit for this session. This is where we're going to end this presentation. I know it was a quick overview of EAL, but I think the tutorial will really take you through the process. Be sure that you read any assigned articles and complete any assignments and activities that are due with this session. And of course, as always, if you have any questions about anything, be sure to contact me as soon as possible. Thanks and have a great day.